Good evening to you all, and good evening from Arizona, and good evening to my other panel members joining in from Arizona, from Mexico, from Cali, and good morning to my Bangalore and Singapore panel. Welcome and thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you also to the many people around the world I can see that have dialed into our session, and a sneaky shout out to my people team dialed in from around the world. So my name is Suzanne McKenna, and I'm the Global Vice President of People and Culture. Partnering with me today is my wonderful co-host and pal, Jorge Simons. Why are we here? We are here in celebration of the first year anniversary of the rebrand to Ancora, and to understand your experiences during that incredible one-year journey. I had the pleasure of being involved right from the beginning. When we started this project, our CEO, Benu Raghavan, very much wished to include his people as part of the story. So much so, he invited our people to assist him in renaming our company as one. From there, we hired a smart and visionary CMO, Joshua Cantor, who took us all on a wild adventure. And boy, has it been an adventure. One of color, logos, purposeful values, brand design, and a website that has transformed our external image and brand. From this point on, our Ancorian tribe was born. What an incredible year of transformation it has been. Congratulations to all Ancorians around the world, as together we made us happen. So in essence, the purpose of today's panel discussion is to come together as one global group in celebration of our values. The value and discussion point today is a very important one and something very dear to me personally. It's diversity. And as part of this panel, we would like to know genuinely, what does a diverse Ancora look like for you? I am now going to hand you over to my co-host, Jorge Simons. Jorge, over to you.
Hello. Thank you for the nice introduction. My name is Jorge Simons. I'm what you would call a content Saurus Rex, which means I've been creating content for a very, very long time at Encora, almost 10 years. I'm based in Mexico, and I now work with the Encora marketing team as a content specialist. I'm also very proud to say that I'm an activist. I have supported sexual rights, women's rights, and LGBTQ plus rights in Sonora, my state in Mexico, as part of a non-governmental organization called Diversidad. So shout out to them. We have worked a lot, but instead of going on with me, let us introduce the panel two, strictly in alphabetical order. I'm going to throw it out to Artemisa. Artemisa, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I am Artemisa Yescas, and I am currently located in Hermosillo, Mexico, and I was raised in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. I am proudly part of the product and quality teams, and I have been in Ancora for the last decade. I'm really excited to be here.
So you're a quality SARS then. No, I'm kidding. Next up is Jessica. You need to unmute though, Jessica, so we can hear you.
That would work.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Jessica Sanju. I am with the Senior and People and Culture Division. We're located out of the Scottsdale office in Arizona. I have been with Encora since it was initially Encora, named Encora, 13 years now. So I'm very excited to be part of this diversity event. It does. Diversity is near and dear to my heart. I have a diverse family. I have diverse friends, and obviously the company that we work for is extremely diverse. So I'm really excited to be participating in this.
Thank you for joining us. Next up in line is Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hi everyone, my name is Joe Santos. I am a senior people and culture executive based in the melting pot of Asia, that's Singapore. I have been with the company for coming to 7 years this September, and I'm so happy to be here with everyone today. On behalf of the Filipino and Koreans, I would like to greet the company Mabuhay, which means long live in Filipino.
Thank you so much. And our next stop takes us to Mahesh. Hello, Mahesh. Good morning to
Hello,
you.
good morning. Hello, I am Mahesh Mehta and I work as a senior software engineer. I'm based out of Bangalore and I've been part of Encora from past 3 months now, so quite a newbie here. And it's my absolute pleasure to be part of this wonderful panel. Thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you for being here. It doesn't matter if you had 3 months or 10 years, we're all valid here. Next up is Oriana from Latin America. Oriana, welcome.
Hi guys, I'm Oriana Gracia. I'm a senior technical recruiter. I've been here at Encora for over a year and a half. Actually, I was here first when we were Avantica, now Encora. I'm located at our offices in Cali, Colombia. Actually, Cali, Colombia is the only office we have here in Colombia. I started when we were only like three of us when the office opened, and we have grown over to 70 people now.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, we're also expanding our offices twice our original size, and we're about to get to know our new office, and it will be like holding over 150 people. So, yay!
You need
Yay
to
for
send
Cali!
us. You need to send us a
Yay
ticket
for
to
Cali.
Cali soon. Yep. Congratulations.
I know, will be great.
And last but definitely not least, we got Binay. Binay, hello. Off to you.
Hello, good evening to everyone in the US and in that region. And of course, good morning to everyone tuning in from the Asian regions as well. My name is Vinay Ishwaran and I work as a communications marketing consultant as a part of the people and culture team here at Encora. I have been here for about 2 years now. In fact, I will be celebrating my 2-year anniversary in October. It has been a wonderful ride for me here so far at Encora, and I am very thrilled to be a part of this great endeavor. I really look forward to being a part of more of such things here at the company.
Very nice. Thank you all for joining us today. I just want to give a shout out to Malaysia, India. I've been told people from Mexico, Costa Rica, Colombia, and Brazil have been here. And now I'll throw it back to Suzanne for a bit of clarification. Suzanne, can you help me?
Thank you, Jorge. So look, guys, Encora understands the value of diversity. We do. We're really proud to have employees from over 23 nationalities and counting, who each come from different backgrounds, education, life experiences, families, and offer a unique perspective. We all understand at Encora that diverse talent is essential to creating solutions and processes. We get it, not just for our people, but for our clients, candidates, and external stakeholders. But just let me set the scene for a second. So it's my opinion and my professional experience. Diversity can mean very different things to different people. When some of us think of diversity, we normally jump right to gender or sexual orientation and the LGBTQ collective. It is all of those things, most definitely. But we are all learning that diversity has many, many dimensions. What are these? Well, in my opinion, it's multicultural and multiracial identities. But diversity is also the accommodation of people in business and society with disabilities. And by that, I don't just mean physical disability, I mean mental health disabilities, which are often overlooked because, of course, they're not visible to the eye. Autism, crippling depression and crippling anxiety, speech impediments, While many of you on the call today may not have a disability, perhaps there are people in your life with a disability, and perhaps you wonder, what does the working world look like for them? Like walk in their shoes for a second. Among us, we have colleagues from different generations, aging employees who were once young, working alongside graduates, millennials, and Generation Zs. I think I'm Generation X or I don't know, Generation Dinosaur, maybe. I'm not sure. But working parents and caretakers, returning women from maternity leave. I was once one of those too, juggling everything, and you're feeling vulnerable. Men returning from paternity leave. And let's face it, world, they don't get much time off. They are too juggling a brand new addition to the family and work. And then, of course, last but not least, but gender balance, gender pay gaps, and the inability to attract women into STEM disciplines. And again, it's my opinion, but I think that's got worse during the COVID pandemic. Jorge, at this juncture, I'm going to hand back to you, my friend.
Yep, diversity means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And here at Ancora, we are continually striving to be a better version of ourselves as individuals and as a company. But I want to ask our panel the first question, which is, what is your take on Ancora? I'm gonna use my power as co-host to answer this question first. So the question is, what does diversity mean for your own personal life? And for me, the word diversity is sort of like a special lens that lends me the power to see the uniqueness in everyone and celebrate who they are, no matter what or no matter who they are. It empowers me to not only not conform to the norm, or whatever we're pressured into considering normal. And it makes me value all those people that maybe disenfranchised or next to last on that line, um, and are not being considered normal. It makes me value also um, safe spaces, and it challenged me and inspires me to create a workplace that everyone can be their best selves and share themselves as whatever that their truth may be. This may sound a little bit too poetic, but I think that this is integral to who we are as a company and as people. But I am not gonna let you keep hearing from me. I must also hear from my peers. I know they have a lot of things to say. So speaking of peers, Artemisa, in alphabetical order, you're up once again. I'm gonna ask you the question again: Is what does diversity mean to you in your personal life?
Yeah, thank you, Jorge. Well, for me, diversity in my life, it means the intersection of different people, of different places with different experiences, and taking into consideration multiple dimensions, such as culture, background, skills, gender, sexual orientation, mental and physical activity abilities, etc. Right? But I profoundly feel that diversity brings a lot of value and learnings in my personal life, and how I approach challenges in my job and also in my career.
And that's the point. Sometimes that personal experience also helps us at work. And I would like to throw the same question at what Joe thinks why diversity is important in their life. Go ahead.
All right. Diversity for me would be coexisting. So, as a foreign worker in Singapore, I have had the pleasure of being introduced to a lot of people with various religions, nationalities, races, traditions, and cultures. And it has been both a humbling and expansive experience for me. So, immersing myself in the differences of others has made me value my own uniqueness, and at the same time has made me learn to appreciate and respect those of others. Having had the pleasure of working at such a diverse workplace has made me very rich in perspective.
I love the way you say immersing yourself in the differences of others. It really is it really is quite humbling. Mahesh, what would be your take on this question?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Jorge. And as rightly put by you, diversity has a farrago of meanings, unique to each one. And in my opinion, diversity, simply put, is an environment that provides equal opportunities without bias. And this opportunity not just relates to your professional aspect, Rather, it's an environment which is welcoming and which helps you thrive and grow culturally, economically, and socially. It's an environment that perceives an individual as an amalgamation of his experiences rather than his inherent behavior or biological differences. So that's where I see diversity.
It's
I
very
see.
interesting, Mahesh.
Thank you for sharing. I also want to ask Jessica.
Yeah. For me, diversity means we all matter. We just all matter, irrespective of our gender or religion, sexual orientation, or backgrounds. But we recognize that we're all different in our own way, and it's important that we learn to respect each other's differences, and then at the same time acknowledging that we're all in this big world together, and everyone's just trying to do their best. So we just have to embrace different backgrounds, different thoughts, different theories, everything from every different type of person. Really listening to these people, I feel like is how you can grow as a human being. I've learned so much working at Ancora about the Indian culture specifically. Um, I'm in love with their culture now. I had no idea about so many different things and ways of life, and it's been a great opportunity experience for me. It's opened my eyes up to a lot of different things, and it's to me just as you come together and understand everyone's backgrounds that you can continue to grow together as people and as humans and as coworkers and coexist.
Great. Oriana would be next. What does diversity mean to you personally?
Well, diversity to me means knocking down barriers and paradigms is like the art of not only coexisting but working together towards a common goal, despite any fundamental differences in thinking and in living. And in an international organization like Encora, this art becomes more important than ever as we require to work and interact with people from all over, the world, and different cultural, political outlooks, habits, and communication matters. An act or comment that is normal in a culture or nationality may seem rude or grotesque in another. And learning to understand and cope with this difference at work or in the personal life is not an easy task. In Encora, I have learned to keep an open mind and not to take things personally when interacting with international colleagues and friends. And well, this has not only helped me to be to communicate better, um, and to strengthen my international relationships, but also to get to know and understand different cultures and costumes.
I think it's all about understanding and keeping an open mind. I like the way you
Yeah.
said that. Okay, let's move on to Vinay for a last opinion. What does diversity mean to you, Vinay, personally?
I mean, for me, diversity has been such an intrinsic part of my life throughout. I mean, it all boils down to sort of the unique upbringing that I have had. I mean, I am an Indian national with traditional Indian parents who have taught me all of the fundamental cultural nuances of Indian culture, and more specifically, South Indian culture, as India itself is a very diverse place. But being an Indian national, I've never actually lived in India until I turned 27, which was just a few years ago. So I was brought up in Bangkok, Thailand. I lived there till the age of 18. I studied in an international school with over 100 different nationalities. I was exposed to so many different cultures around the world. And I even moved to Australia after that, living there for over 6 years. It seemed like second nature, adjusting to that kind of lifestyle. Living in the UK taught me a lot of different things about the cultural aspects over there as well. And having all of these opportunities, I've been able to embrace and welcome so many different cultures into my own personal life, and I feel as if I'm much more accepting of others because of this background. And diversity is something that I cherish beyond all else because that is what I have been exposed to all my life.
That sounds like a beautiful life experience. It sounds like you're like in the middle of a melting pot of experiences, living in so many different countries and living all these cultures. I'm a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie, but anyway, I want to send it out to Suzanne again. We have another question, Suzanne.
Yes, I just want to wrap up on that one. So, what I'm hearing there is that, we need to build safe spaces that allows all of us to bring our best selves to work. and be accepting of our different cultural backgrounds and experiences, family backgrounds, where we've lived, what we've learned. It's been very interesting just to hear that from you. So, my next question is, and I really want to know this as VP of People and Culture, this one's an important one for me personally. But what does a diverse Encora look like for you guys? If I can start with you, RT.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, in my perspective, we are a good example of a diverse workforce. We have teammates distributed all over the world, uh, but we do need to make sure as we grow more and more to maintain this trust and the confidence that we can reach out to anyone, anywhere, and be able to support each other through our learning processes, everything we're trying to digest, right? That is for me.
Thank you, RT. Jess, moving to you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I also agree with Artie. I think we're doing a pretty good job with all the different regions and everyone coming together. We're quite diverse, but a really good diverse workforce to me would be acceptance of all walks of life in different types of roles within the organization as well, whether it be high executive leadership or a lower level or admin or whatever it is. But just real inclusion makes for a better workforce. Listening, learning, respecting our cultural values, different styles of work, understanding those only creates a stronger work environment. So for me, when you foster authenticity and identity of our coworkers, it's key to success. It's key to productivity. It's going to generate a better work atmosphere where you're excited to go to work every day. You feel accepted. You feel valued, and everything goes up from there, right? So
And I
that's
think listening to people is key.
hmm
Listening, like really hearing what somebody is telling you.
that's right.
Joe, can I hear from you?
All right. Yeah. So a diverse and core workforce for me, I do agree it has to be inclusive, right? So it's not just that we look at the numbers or the statistics of how diverse our workforce is. It's that the people that we do invite in from all walks of life, right? Different backgrounds, different beliefs, different preferences. What's important is that they will want to stay with us because as a company and as their colleagues, we had made them feel valued and respected. It's a workplace where people will want to come into work every day, bringing everything that they've got, being their best selves, because they know that they will be given a fair shot at succeeding if they put in the effort.
Great point, Joe. Mahesh, can I move to you?
Yes, thank you, Suzanne. I feel the diverse encourage a workforce that just not names it, but rather celebrates its diversity. It's an environment that should incur a feeling of inclusion rather than assimilation into the organization. And this feeling of being part of something should be so normalized that it should make everyone feel that this is how it is. This is how it is always be, and there's no other way. It should help everyone maintain their immediate beliefs and their values, which is very dear to them, and make not and not have them make the feel they need to change their beliefs or something that we believe in and they may not change it so that need to fit into that particular culture. I feel it's a place where everyone should be respected and heard and made a contribution is make feel that a contribution is valuable, without being having to change the base belief. So that's where I feel diverse encoder workforce would be.
Yeah, a respectful, non-judgmental Encora is
Yes.
definitely the way to go. And I think we do a really good job of building on that cultural connect. Jessica, as you and I have often discussed, we are really good at celebrating each other's festivals and just really embracing the different cultures of our colleagues around the world. Thank you, Mahesh. Oriana?
Well, I don't believe a diverse workforce is just a company made up of multiple nationalities. To me, it's much more than that. It's a global team, and the keyword here is team. because a team is not just a grouping of people, it is a single unit with a common goal and shared strategies. Like saying goes, there is no I in team.
Team.
Yeah, and this is true also in a global diverse workforce. We must have enough cultural awareness to use those diverse disciplines and beliefs in our favor, and do so in such a way that everybody feels included, understood, and we all come out as winners.
Very true. So everybody's opinion counts.
Yeah.
Vinay, over to you.
I mean, for me, a diverse workforce will not work without having acceptance of others and inclusivity in the workplace. I mean, there's such crucial values for all of us to espouse to it, Ancora. And I truly do believe that embracing the differences that all of us share with each other is what will truly make us great as a community. And I think the most important aspect of diversity in the workplace is that it needs to be embraced by everyone, and allowing everyone to be who they are, the freedom to be who they are. And all of us have such unique perspectives, beliefs, opinions, and experiences. And these are what make us who we are as people. We need to support each other and give each other the freedom that all of us deserve. And most importantly, we need to put ourselves out there. And I think we need to try and understand the people around us better so that we can get a more holistic view of society and embrace each other. So for me, a workplace that provides these freedoms, the feeling of inclusivity, the feeling of fairness in how people are treated, and the acceptance of others is one that is truly diverse and champions the idea of cultural awareness, I think.
So really, the biggest teachings of diversity is going to come from each other.
Absolutely.
We're going to learn from each other if we embrace each other. Jorge, I'm going to hand over to you for the next question.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot about who we are as a group and who we are as individuals, and that is something I think that comes a lot when we're thinking about a workforce or as a global team. And I was wondering, in what way or what threats do you guys see in the way for us to having a diverse team? Let me just say that again. What are the major threats you would see to us having a diverse workforce? And I'll start with Artemisa.
Thank you, Jorge. Yeah, for me, I see as a big threat having a diverse workforce, relying that on the fact that because we're all over the world, that's it. We're covering diversity. Forgetting to acknowledge and praise these unique differences we all have, is such a big misstep. We should always feature these unique differences that make us who we are, because that serves as inspiration and empowerment. And this done right will get us very, very far.
Yep. It's not just about, oh, we're in many countries, so now it's automatic. It's a
We're diverse,
day-to-day,
yeah.
Right.
it's a day-to-day work. I would go to Jessica next.
Yeah. And Artie, great point. I mean, just because we're a global company, right? We say we're global, we're in all countries. So whatever's there, box checked, no, we have to action, is what we need. But I'm thinking about, as you're saying, threatening. And for me, I'm thinking one of the most threatening aspects to having a diverse workplace is this literally never ending COVID pandemic.
I agree.
If you think about it, we've literally been locked up at home, not participating face to face, having inclusive social environments to work in as we once knew it, so we can practice diversity, continue to engage in practicing diversity. So we're so kind of distant. So it's more important than ever that we are checking on one another, celebrating festivities together, whether it's over Teams or a virtual coffee with your coworker once a week, or doing that check-in and keeping that inclusion as coworkers. And I think lately, since the pandemic started, we've literally onboarded executive members into the team. And if you think about it, I've never even shaken their hand. You know what I mean? And it's in my current role as a liaison for people, that's not normal. That's not normal. It's just weird. I never thought that would be the way that we're working in my lifetime, and that I'd have to navigate through a pandemic, but more importantly, continue to push that the diversity, the inclusion, the checking in on one another, regardless. Looking into the different holidays and festivities in other countries and checking in on them and doing all that. So that to me is kind of right.
Yeah,
Jessica, sorry, Jorge, if I can just elaborate on that, that's a great point. I'll just tell you my own experience. So when the pandemic started, I heard, even friends of mine, it was the woman she actually opted to leave the workforce. Why? Because they found it really difficult when this homeschooling period, when we were expected to homeschool and work and navigate home life.
Yep.
And the other aspect of this is for me, I'm very lucky to come from a well-balanced, happy home life. But I can guarantee you that not everybody is that fortunate. And some people, some of our colleagues, they go to work for escapism, right? They want a different environment. They go to be with their second family. And that's no longer an option. It's not an option for some women or some men who are in abusive relationships to actually, have that choice. Well, today I get to go to an office. So I think the pandemic definitely has been a threat to diversity. So thank you for that, Jessica.
I was just going to mention that those communication bridges that are usually there are no longer there. So we need to keep building those bridges.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm now going to build a bridge to Joe, and maybe you can share your perspective.
All right. For me, one major threat to diversity would be the bystander effect. So it's in each of us, right? The responsibility. Each of us must catalyze the change needed to build an inclusively diverse workforce. It's a collective responsibility. So all of us have to know where, when, and how to intervene or positively influence situations where we recognize any potentially harmful interactions between our colleagues. A culture of silent bystanders, will allow the misaligned behaviors to continue, or even worse, gain traction. So let's face it, right? These uncomfortable situations, not all of these will make it to the people and cultures desk, because the easiest excuse is usually that it's just a joke. So it's also a big responsibility for all the people present during the situation to mold the behavioral conditioning of all the parties involved.
So, Joe, each one of us must take ownership and be a catalyst for change, is what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
We have to keep each other accountable. Culture is something that is
Sure.
as alive as diversity is. I'm going to throw it up next to Mahesh. Mahesh, go ahead. You are muted, Mahesh. If you want to unmute, please.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah. So, if I may say so, people to some extent, for lack of a better word, are prejudiced. And I feel that, in fact, this is our ego defense mechanism. We are sometimes taught to be prejudiced. We are taught to have a preconceived notion about someone. And we often relate this to some sort of experiences or encounters that we might have had in the past. I feel this preconceived notion is a regular threat to diversity. I feel this idea that we have made up in our mind about certain persons, certain communities, of certain culture will always pose a threat to diversity. And ironically speaking, the only way to build a diverse society is to let go of this preconceived notion. We as humans are supposed to live in a biodiverse, diverse society, and that's how what even science teaches us. The strongest ecosystem is a biodiverse ecosystem, and this should be a reflection in our life into all sorts of organization and society. And that's what I feel about the threat to diversity.
Keeping an open mind and not going to those preconceived notions is very, very hard, and I think it's one of the things that is very challenging. So I applaud you for bringing that up. Thank you very much.
And me too, Mahesh. I often, in my career, I see, somebody just takes one person to build a less than favorable narrative about somebody else, and it can stick, pretty hard. So I agree with you, Mahesh. Thank you for bringing that up too.
This brings us to Oriana.
Well, I see three possible threats to having a diverse workforce. The first one is the lack of connection, or rather, the added difficulty to establish meaningful connections among teammates. Given the virtuality of our industry and all of the tools for remote work, we are physically very far away from our coworkers, and most of the human interaction and nonverbal communication is lost. This makes it even harder to have effective conversation with people from other nationalities and cultures, which brings me to my second threat, which is communication. I see inefficient communication as a latent threat to having a diverse workforce because we often rely on idioms or expression in our native language to make a point or get an idea through. For example, one time I was in a meeting talking to a manager from the US, and she used an expression. I think it was take it with a grain of salt, and I didn't know what this means, and so I got lost in the conversation. I got lost in the idea, and I had to wait until the meeting was over to ask for an explanation. Or so it was, or conversely, when trying to make a point in English and I am lacking the proper expression, all this can really stifle communication. And last but not least, different cultures and even religions have different levels of tolerance towards certain comments or actions. Sometimes something totally harmless can affect different people in different ways. So I think here, like, the main point is, or the main idea is, tolerance is definitely something that we must be taught or nurture in a diverse workforce.
That is so true.
Very.
Tolerance is one of those. Oh, I'm sorry, Suzanne.
No, I was just going to say, as you were speaking, I felt myself getting goosebumps because I do that too. I often justify the fact I'm Irish and that I might say something that's very normal in my own culture, but that somebody from India or USA would not even know what I'm talking about. So that's I really you really touched me there on that one, Oriana.
It's just, again, it's about being who we are and being who we are as a team too. It's two different dimensions. And last but definitely not least, again, Vinay, it's your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest threats to diversity is definitely unconscious bias. I mean, many people in the world will have their own opinions on things, but allowing those opinions to sort of dictate how they treat others is a threat that I think cannot be overlooked. Most may not even be aware of the fact that they harbor these biases in their minds. So it's important for everyone to go through an institutional process of education, like sensitivity training, for example, to allow them to become more aware of these biases, and then to eventually tackle these unconscious biases as well that sort of linger in their minds. I think another threat to diversity as well is when people do not speak out against actions that stifle diversity. So it is important for all of us to sort of be brave enough to stand up to the suppression of diversity so that we can then move towards a more institutional and societal change in things.
I keep doing like this with my head, but I'm just hearing three things that are very important. One of them is communication, which is something that we should not take for granted. Number two, real quick, is keeping each other accountable. If we see something, we need to say something. We need to be part of a positive culture. And the other and last thing is that COVID has really strained our relationships, and we need to take care of them. So
if I can add to that as well, Jorge. So
Go ahead.
Vinay and I recently were in training together, and we were discussing performance management, and it's through no fault of anyone's, or it's just what happens. So you'll often find in a performance conversation that saying you're only as good as your last piece of work. Not true. And I was training Vinay that in performance management, it's really about stepping back and seeing the collective view of the full year or the last 6 months, and not making an unconscious bias about something that went wrong in the last quarter. And unconscious bias, it comes in many different forms, and it's something we all need to watch as humans, as people managers and leaders. So I just wanted to add that point. The next question I have is one that I'm genuinely interested in hearing. What tangible actions, do you think we can take as an organization to enable our employees feel part of a diverse, growing, but like a progressive organization that we want to be? What
I'm
do we need to
sorry.
do?
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is going to be sort of like a lightning round because we have very little time. So
Sure, let's go.
I'm sorry. We're starting with Artemisa. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, personally, making people feel comfortable in their own self is crucial. Also, highlighting diversity in our site, in our social media approaches, in our recruiting campaigns, so that our audience are aware of our day to day on how we treat each other with respect and price, not reinforcing, not contributing to the perpetuation of the heteronormativity, avoiding things like normal, good or bad, gender cliches. Maybe in English language we don't have as many, right? But in Spanish we have gender words. So this is something really important to consider and to improve.
Okay, interesting. Jessica?
Yeah. For me, tangible, like actually doing something is, we had been discussing this before. We're getting an HRIS system, much needed. People are working tirelessly to get this implemented and out. With those systems, we can collect data, see how we're hiring, see what the where the patterns are. Are we heavy on one side, not on the other? Women versus men, or, so we'll have that data, take that information, and progress with it. And continue to highlight all our really fun things that we do to celebrate each other on our social medias so we can retain employees that are like-minded and our clients can see what we're doing too. So that's what I
Thank you, Jessica. Joe?
This is something that I've seen personally, right? We could consider making space for a prayer room at the office because I've noticed personally that our Muslim employees or colleagues usually have to travel out for their prayers. So it wouldn't only offer them convenience, but it would also make them feel that their beliefs and values are accepted and respected.
We will take that one for sure, Joe. Absolutely. Mahesh?
Yeah, I feel the one thing which I can do is to talk more about it. The more we talk, the more we normalize it. So that's one. And secondly, I feel that we should have more, cross-country celebrations about certain things. Perhaps we could have, a Diwali celebration together. Perhaps we could have, get to know what 4th of July is, or we could have an Ancora Pride Day. So the more we allow people to participate together and come as a collective group and understand each other's culture, I think that's where we'll be the right path to get into it. So we're already talking about it, so that's a great start.
Great point, Mahesh. Oriana?
Well, actually, I agree with a lot of your ideas. I think also that some actionable measures I think will help are, for example, team building activities, both virtual and in person, whenever possible. Because I think this will help people familiarize themselves with people from different cultures and interact with them outside of our work environment. Gaining more insight into their behaviors and their personalities. Another way will be to have seminar discussions, discussions of important information about their cultures and religions, teaching us their main philosophies and important events, books, and beliefs.
And guest speakers. Great one, Ariana. Vinay?
I think that creating events and celebrating different cultures, LGBTQ events, and all that in the workplace itself would be a good place to start off with. We can also do things like creating educational platforms where we are making people more aware of all of the different cultural diversities that we have in the organization, and maybe even something like creating videos that can go viral, creatively made videos, interviews with diverse employees, and use social media for that.
Okay, well, I'll just tell you very quickly, and I know we're running out of time, but today, Annabelle will attest to this. We met with the HRIS team that are implementing the HRIS, and if there's one thing we asked about, we said, look, no more will we see male and female in the drop-down gender of the employee self-service section. We will see other, or rather not specify. The days of M&F are gone. The other thing that I just want to tell you that we're looking into, and we will discuss with our CMO and our leadership team, but is allowing pronouns in email signatures. he, him, she, her, they, their. Like, why should we assume somebody's sexual orientation? Most progressive organizations in the Western world today actually have pronouns in their email signature. So that's just something else, something tangible that I would like to look into. Jorge, I'm going to wrap up and hand over to you.
Okay, so I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. So we're gonna do something really dumb. But I have a cake, and I'm not allowed to use fire right now. But everyone, please, at the count of three, say happy anniversary and blow out the cake. 1, 2, 3. Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
There we go. I'll FedEx a little cake for you. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I appreciate the uniqueness and beauty of all your responses, and thank you, Suzanne, for inviting me.
Oh, look, it was my pleasure, Jorge. I couldn't have asked for a better co-host. And I just want to wrap up by saying this is a very important topic. We are working together with our wonderful head of communications just to form a diversity committee. This is not the last you'll hear from us. And I just want to, before we go, extend another warm thank you to our Encorians who have joined late and early from the United States, Dayton in Brazil, Canada, India, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore. I see Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, Costa Rica, and Mexico. Thank you very, very much for joining us on this great evening for me and to raise awareness of this very important topic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.